Hello, everybody. My name is Ratnos, and welcome to Phase 3 of Mythic Fyrakk. If you've reached this point and you're starting Prog in P3, congratulations. This phase is the most fun phase of the expansion, in my opinion. It's a really, really joyful phase to play. Fight starts off with the boss landing in the middle of the room, and you're going to want to take it up towards the seed area, like the heart of the tree. The basic idea is that each of the times that you use one of the seeds in this phase, 4 good seeds will spawn at the start of the phase. Each time you use one, it will leave behind a stinky puddle of fire. So we want to place our first ones up here on the edges, and then our second ones just in front of those, and then we're going to move the boss all the way away from those 4, and we're going to take it to the other side of the room. Now, if you're reaching this boss significantly, if there's been another HP nerf or something since this video's come out, you might be able to move the boss sooner away from the 3 fire puddles or something like that. But this strat was at least the one we used to kill the boss, and the one that made sense with the length of the fight that we were up against. So, although even for us, we killed it very early into the final area of this room. So if you're using the meta comp that most guilds are running for this fight, or something like it, you want to pick 4 ranged DPS to pick up these first 4 seeds. For the Echo, what Echo used, what we used is 2 hunters, a mage, and a lock will pick up the first seeds. And they spawn in a little pattern around this middle area, and we just have your mage and our lock pick up the 2 over here, and they're going to play over on this side of the room, and our hunters will pick up these ones and go play over here. And the idea is to drop your tornadoes during this phase nice and tight stacked over here, and these tornadoes will actually despawn in time before we're back over in this area of the room, which is really nice. They despawn after like 3 roars, and the way that the roars are done is intentionally set up to exploit the fact that these ones will end up despawning. But if your hunters get targeted here, they're going to have to drop over on this side instead. And the rest of your raid should play nicely stacked over here, even your other ranged. They should stay away from your mage and your warlock and from your hunters because those people are busy babysitting their seeds. And for all of these mechanics, the fewer people that are close to your seed bearers, the easier your life is going to be, right? It's nice to have these two kind of them playing near each other because they can look after each other's seed with their blazes and stuff, but mostly you don't want blazes from anybody else in the raid to be touching these people over here. So we're playing nice and far away, right? You can see on our map here, there's our 4 people picking up their seeds, and as soon as they get them, they are then going to be spreading nice and far away from the rest of the raid, which is all pretty tightly over here up against the edge of the room. And so we just fight the boss for a little while, and basically the same sequence of abilities is going to happen each time here. Blaze, breath, firestorms and tornadoes, blaze, and then apocalypse roar. So that combo is going to happen every time in this phase. It just gets worse and worse as the room gets more scuffed and the good seeds go away and bad seeds replace them. So eventually we'll get to this first apocalypse roar, right? We do these blazes. These blazes are pretty easy. There's no corrupted seeds out. There's only the good seeds. If the people with the good seeds get a blaze, they just drop their seed, sidestep, and then pick it back up. Then these last blazes are happening before the apocalypse roar. We group up on this front left area. We activate our seed. Everybody gets the buff. As soon as you get this buff, this shield buff, you are now safe to leave. You can go and get out of this green grass. And it's in fact important too because the boss is going to try and knock you away. So everybody gets safe, and then before the roar even goes off, they're off over on the other side of the boss. And now the idea is going to be that the raid will play over by the triangle marker, right, in the front right of the room. And the people with the good seeds will still play roughly where they were. But the boss is now facing the opposite direction, and it's time for our first 2 corrupted seeds of the fight. Again, we just carbon copied the Echo strat with who was holding which seeds, and we copied the idea of when they would drop and trade these seeds. So Echo didn't actually end up doing it on their kill as they had planned to, but we did. So if you look at our logs, you can see the exact timers of each of those drops and pickups, and steal those if you'd like for all of these seed sets, and they work pretty well. But yeah, so it's time to come pick up our first seeds of this phase. The tanks are going to be 1 pair, and the demon hunters are the next pair that work on this one. I do think it's really smart to get your tanks involved in this fast because your tanks are just not near anybody. And what we actually did, which is not really the Echo strat, but Echo suggested it to me, and we're like, this is better than what we did, is have our DHs play really close to the tanks, because that makes it so that there's more space for everybody else to use And it does mean that they're going to have to dodge each other's blazes as they're holding these seeds. But if they get comfortable doing that, it saves so much space for the rest of the raid. So we did this, except our DHs were right on top of our tanks. And so I pick up the first seeds here, the first seed, and so does one of the other DHs. And then we're all, the three of us, right, the two tanks and the DH with the seed are going to play over here. Now the DH's partner is not playing here. Just because you're in a seed pair doesn't mean you stay next to your seed partner. You stay in the raid area until it's your turn to hold the seed, at which point you go and collect it and play far away. But there's no reason for the other DH to be over here as well right now. They should be over in the raid, hard chilling. And yeah, if you're the tank with the seed, do not taunt the boss. Do not hold threat of the boss. The boss's tank hit will explode a seed that's being carried. So you basically want to alternate here among the tanks. One tank is tanking the boss, one tank is holding the seed. And for the tanks, at least, we would just always swap our seeds on the way in to each of the roars. So I'm holding the seed now, and all you have to do is if you get Blaze, you drop your seed, you step a little bit to the side, and then you pick your seed back up. You need to make sure that you don't blaze anybody else's seed, and you need to make sure you don't get hit by any of these swirlies. But it's actually very forgiving. If you drop a seed, like I'm going to do here, even if I was like right next to it, as long as the line of the edge of the blaze doesn't go through the middle of the seed, it won't actually explode the seed. The swirlies are much less forgiving. For the swirlies, if a edge of a swirly hits the edge of a seed, it will explode the seed. But the blazes are very forgiving with the seeds. So you can see here, I get my blaze, I run out a little bit, and then I drop my seed, and that's all there is to it. And now we're going under the boss here for the next Apocalypse Roar, where we're going to go and do this over on the other side, where one of our seeds is going to activate. This is some tech that I actually invented on the toilet one night during progression, which I'm pretty proud of. So here's how this works. Me and all of the other seed users that were interested in this bound a macro that pinged our seed partner with a specific ping. So for instance, me and the other tank both had a macro that we could press that would put an on my way ping on top of of each other, right? So if I press my macro, it puts an on my way ping onto the other tank so that I could know where he is, and then I could drop the seed for him, and he could know he's about to have a seed dropped for him. So we would use this anytime we want to drop seeds, right? I can see where he is. There's that ping marker. I press the button. I see where it is. I drop him the seed. He picks it up. Easy does it. We get to this Apocalypse Roar, and this one is the gateway. It's also worth noting that the lust was just before. We lusted during the last little bit there. So after the first Apocalypse Roar, after we stabilize, we lust. And then the second Apocalypse Roar, we gateway out of over here. And yeah, again, you're going to be able to see here, like, look at this attack ping. Our two demon hunters both have the attack ping over their head, and that lets each of them know where each of them are, right? And then they're going to be able to execute a little swap here, and bang, easy does it. Our demon hunters have swapped their seeds as well. There's joy in the kingdom, right? There's much prosperity. The people are celebrating. So I would really recommend that tech. I think it's really good to have, especially for your early seed pairs, just having a button you can press that will put a marker over somebody else's head. And then you just want to use the same ping as your partner. And then if there are other seed pairs that are using this tech, have them all use different pings from each other so that you can, know which one is yours. But yeah, I'm really proud of that one. I think that was really clever. So now I'm tanking the boss, and we stay on the same side. We stay on the left side here, and we are before the third roar, the raid is kind of in the same spot that they were before the second roar. So let me show you what that looks like here. And the whole reason that we do this, 1, 2, 3, 4 in this shape, is so that these tornadoes will despawn by the time we're over here for 4. That's the reason we do this weird pattern. So you do this, and now we're going to have 2 more corrupted seeds drop. Our mage and our lock have already used their 2 good seeds, right? This was the lock, this was the mage. So now they're going to be juggling a corrupted seed between the 2 of them. And our evokers will be grabbing the other corrupted seed on this set. Our 2 hunters are still holding good seeds. And again, you can see all playing kind of far away from each other. We scooted our DHs up to be closer to the tanks. And that gave our mage lock more ability to play closer to the healing up here, because the Holy Paladin is trying to be in range of all of these people to heal them. It's not easy to do. This Holy Paladin also needs to be very good at reacting quickly and taking their tornado all the way over here. And they should be pre-moving before this firestorm. Just in case they get tornado, they should be edging towards taking it over here, because horse isn't enough movement speed to get here if you just react as soon as it happens. Okay, so we're up over here. Next set of tank mechanics comes out, not a big deal. And again, Blaze in this phase, I don't have a seed. So if I get a Blaze, I'm not moving. I will look and see if my Blaze is hitting a seed on the floor. And if it is, I will move it. But otherwise, I'm not moving with my Blaze. And the people with seeds with Blazes can move, or the people with seeds without Blazes can move, right? But the non-seed havers just don't move with your Blaze if you're anywhere near a seed haver. So yeah, then we get in towards the next Swirls and Roar. Again, it's going to be time for me to pick up my seed. So there's the ping, the collection, and we move under to the safe spot there. Try very hard not to hit that tornado that was very close there. And now we're back over here. We're over on this side, and the raid is over towards where they started, and those first tornadoes are despawning. But you can see there are tornadoes very close to where we want to play here. Those are placed... This tornado is placed pretty poorly, the one that's rotating here, and that's giving us not much room for activities here. So you can see I'm trying to dodge that during this blaze, and I need to be very careful, because again, if I get hit by any mechanics while I'm holding the seed, it's a raid wipe, even though I could live any of them myself. So dodging some swirlies, dodging some blazes, and getting ready to do the last trade to the other tank here, as we're now getting ready to run in. So again, we're running in for this last seed. For some of these, for the first two, for the first seed, we used a grip to bring our person in. If you're ever using a grip to bring a seed person somewhere, don't do it as these swirlies are landing, because they will land on the person as they're being gripped and will wipe you. So do the grips either before or after swirlies if you're assigning any life grips to getting a seed person into position. But yeah, now we're heading to the last safe spot of the fight. And again, every time there's these swirlies, there will be 2 sets of them. So I'm waiting to see the second one is spawned, right? I'm moving. I'll show you my thought process here as I do this swap. Moving towards the place, right? And first set of swirlies spawn, second set of swirlies are spawned, and I stand and drop, and then we are under getting safe. Everybody gets safe, and now we are moving to the final part of the room where there's a suspicious tornado that shouldn't be here. Try not to do that. Try not to place this tornado here. It's not the end of the world, but you can see it's actually very in danger of wiping us. So the idea is to move all the way down here for this part, and then you have all of this real estate because you filled this area with the fire, you filled these areas with the tornadoes, right? And then you can just play over here, and you can have your tanks down here, your rogues over here, your DHs over here, your warrior druid over here. We again modified this, so our DHs would come in here, our rogues could move a little bit this way, and our raid could move a little bit this way. And that was our idea, but then there was a fun tornado right here, so we YOLO'd it and took the boss from 2% to 0 with everybody just watching their seeds. One thing I would recommend is if you're going to get a kill timing like this of about 10 minutes, don't do the last set of seed swaps. Don't bother trying to swap any seeds once the boss is below like 6% health. Just hold on to your seeds. Hold them until the end of the fight. There's no need to risk blowing up a seed during dropping it. Just handle the extra debuff stacks, right? Like right here, you can see people are still doing some swaps of their seeds. Not necessary. Again, you can see the DHs using that attack ping so that they can stay right on top of each other and track each other during this. It's a good way to do that trade if you have to, but the boss is at 3%. Just hold on to your seeds. Don't bother doing this swap at this point, I don't think. Just take the boss over here and then dodge the tornadoes, dodge the mechanics. And the goal is to kill the boss before the blazes, which come in 6 seconds. So if you don't kill this boss before this set of blazes, it gets real hard. If you remember, Echo and Liquid both wiped sub 5% a bunch of times. It was usually to this upcoming set of blazes. The blazes that are in 1.8 seconds, the blazes that are in 1 second, or 0 seconds, right? Blazes are coming up right now. We killed the boss before those blazes because we have more damage than Echo and Liquid did because we have more item levels in the Helm enchant. So if you do not, if some reason you don't have any more damage than we do when you fight this boss, which hopefully you will, you'll have even more gear than we did, you also won't have to do those blazes. But if you do have to do those blazes, they are very hard, and that's why we try and spread everybody out as far as possible in their positioning here, is so that they can each be having as few blazes to dodge as possible. Because if everybody is all stacked up tight, then all of a sudden you have 8 blazes that are each trying to dodge 8 seeds that are all together. And if it hits any of them, it's a wipe and the fight is over. That is the end of Mythic Fyrakk. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you get to the last Apocalypse Roar, at this point, it's just a wipe. It just kills you. So that is the enrage of the fight. But you can see at this point, we were a solid 40 seconds ahead of that push. And you will be too if you're able to do the earlier parts of this fight. You will be ahead of the damage check, I think, given the way that it works now. So good luck. It's a very fun fight. The P3 is, again, it's a delight to play. It's really fun. Hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you next year for the next time we do boss guides.